Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. This game leads right into where we left off from the first game. The events unfold shortly after her journey to Elheim in the first game, with Senua's now feeling empowered by her psychosis rather than encumbered by it. After surviving a shipwreck during a severe storm, Senua's battles both inner demons and bloodthirsty monsters in the human realm of Midgard. I'm not gonna spoil the whole story of Hellblade 2, but this is just a honest review of the game in my first playthrough of what I thought. I'm not gonna base my opinions on what other people think. This is gonna be my honest review and how I personally feel about the game. So I want to start off with gameplay. So myself, I have not played the first Hellblade, but I suppose that was just a gory as the second one installment, Hellblade 2. It really surprised me in so many ways. It kind of felt like more gameplay was needed. I feel like Hellblade 2 suffered a lot of less gameplay than more towards story and cutscenes, which it's not a bad thing, but a gamer, I want to be fighting enemies constantly and a lot of learning the combat and learning the mechanic of the game. And the main focus of Hellblade 2 gameplay was gameplay between cutscenes and before. Some parts felt like a movie. I am playing this on the Xbox Series S and it's also capped at 30 FPS. But to be completely honest, I didn't really notice the 30 FPS. It genuinely felt fine for me for my first playthrough. It did not crash once. My favorite parts were the transitions going through gameplay and cutscenes that makes a huge impact on the gameplay and it makes it more immersive than it just sitting on the same screen. If I were to pick up something up, the gameplay would change to a new area, but with a different environment behind it. What I wished more from Hellblade 2 is just more fighting and less cutscenes. Hellblade 2 did a very good job of dragging you into the story and hooking you, but I can really relate to this game of Senua's Saga fighting her demons, telling her to do this or do that. It feels like a real life, what's really going on in your head, and it sounds messed up while going through troubles through life and your inner demons. And Hellblade 2 will teach you to pretty much keep fighting and keep going and fight your demons as they tell you to do certain things. A lot of other people are going to hop on the hate wagon
And say, oh my god, ItsBuzzer, how can you really like a game like this that is 30 FPS and it cannot last longer than 5 hours?
My first playthrough lasted roughly over 7 hours, and I enjoyed the game a lot more than I expected. I don't care what other people think. This video is probably going to get a lot of hate, but I really don't care. The point of the video is an honest review for Hellblade 2, and that's what I'm doing right now. Hellblade 2 does a really good job feeling more immersive. With no HUD experience, you basically have to go by how many times your screen it goes red or how many times you get hit. The default controls were pretty bad. I changed mine to parrying on my left trigger, then press A to dodge, then press the right bumper for light attack, and then for the right trigger, it was heavy attack. And right thumbstick was the focus button, and left bumper was more for sprinting. You can map it the way you want inside of the game. The puzzles in Hellblade 2 was pretty easy. You will get to these areas that is locked behind these three symbols. You have to find them, and then more close to you get to it, your controller will vibrate, and you use the button to basically zoom in and basically focus on the bubble to navigate through an area. And you're in when moving objects, which each little area with different paths will lead to a different symbol, which will help you navigate through each path to find that specific symbol, which you need to find three of them. Landing parries is very important. It blocks incoming attacks. You will get knocked down a lot. And to use your special ability, once you hit your target enough or you hit so many parries, you can actually use your ability to pretty much go psycho on the enemies. You can hit them as much as you want these attacks with your ability, and it's pretty rewarding because after you parry so many times and you get hit so many times, you can actually use this ability on enemies, and it basically your character will go completely psycho and you can actually just do twice as more damage and swing as much quicker. Sometimes you will have to use the environment to navigate through tough situations like high water, waves, or using puzzles to move to different structures of the land you're on. Performance wise, I was playing this on the Xbox Series S. It is capped at 30 FPS. I didn't really run into any problems or no crashes or any textures that are bugging out. It was actually really perfect. The 30 FPS, I really didn't really notice a difference. It felt smooth and nice, and it felt really good gameplay wise. It felt really good. I'm not just saying that. The graphics, I was really impressed. It really impressed me, especially it being on Xbox Series S. Everything looked good except with the game it uses too much gain. The gain is almost pixelated but like fuzzy in a way, and it really felt like a movie at times. But for it being an Xbox exclusive title, along with it being on PC, it looked really good. I'm not paid to say that. That's just what I noticed and felt about Hellblade 2, and it was awesome. And the weather in Hellblade 2 was pretty insane. It didn't stick to one season. There's actually variety to it, from being rainy to cloudy or wind, or so much dynamic weather, I should say. I'm not gonna judge a game because how short it was. I don't mind that, just as long as I enjoyed the game. And not every game needs to be 38 hours long. Some games are just filtered with side quests and to make that game longer than it already is. If only Xbox can release more titles like this in the near future, that would be fire. But to answer your question, no, I don't think buying an Xbox Series S/X just to play Hellblade 2 is a good game, but it's still not on the level of PlayStation. PlayStation has way too many exclusive titles to compare anything with Xbox, but if you have an Xbox Game Pass or own an Xbox Series S or X, yes, I would recommend Hellblade 2 100% because this game is just out of this world. If you just look at previous Xbox titles and look at Hellblade 2 that is 30 FPS on the Xbox Series consoles, it blows your mind. The fidelity, the quality, the graphics, and the water and the weather dynamic changing, and the cutscenes and the transitions between gameplay and like the cutscenes, and just overall, I wish there was more combat because the combat felt really fluid. There's not one point at my walkthrough during Hellblade 2 that I thought that, wow, this FPS feels terrible. No, it actually did not feel terrible at all. I'm not getting paid to say that. I'll say that again. I genuinely feel like this game playing at 30 FPS on Hellblade 2 on the Xbox Series S actually felt good. I'm not just saying that. And if it was on 60 FPS, it would feel even more fluid as it was, but it felt really good. I feel like a game like this, it doesn't matter if the game is at 30 FPS or 60 FPS, it's just going to feel as good as it was if it even was at 60 FPS because it just feels that good. And it just sucks that Xbox, they market their consoles as the most powerful console in the world. With Xbox releases 30 FPS titles, it really impresses me that they can even do this on Xbox, because when I saw like Twitter tweets saying like how good this game was going to be and the graphics, is like, there's no way Xbox is actually going to pull this off. And I go play it for myself, and after 7 hours of gameplay, the game feels, it was good. It was actually good. And I know I'm going to get those comments like, oh, it's buzzer, this game was actually trash. And I actually looked at other reviews saying that this game was horrible, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to play the game for myself and see how I actually feel about this game. And I played it for myself, and guess what, I actually liked it. I don't want to compare this game to any other exclusive titles on the PlayStation, but Xbox, if Xbox keeps releasing games like these, they actually could have a competition against PlayStation. This game, Hellblade 2, it actually did very well, and it really felt like I was watching a movie the whole time. I felt like I could just go in the kitchen, grab some popcorn, and play this game because it felt like I was watching a movie. It was beyond with like, it was combined with gameplay, like cutscenes, and very immersive. It had everything in one, but it had very less gameplay. I wish the gameplay was there, like combat. I wish you can like run around and just kill enemies. That's really not the case what it was. It was really about the person exploring these certain areas and the dynamic weather along with it. Then you'll get to an area where you actually fight enemies. Then after you're done with that area, you lead to a different area where you just explore this certain area that leads into different puzzles, and it leads into like a cutscene. Then it pretty much repeats itself throughout the whole story, which that's what I hated about, because what it delivered to me is I wanted more gameplay, because the gameplay mechanic of the game felt so good. Like going to like the third person view of the action of it, going like very aggressive combat and just, like guarding your sword and just attacking people and then just going back and forth. It felt like you versus the enemies. It felt like the combat lasted way longer than just hitting the enemy a couple times, which you could actually hit the enemy like 4 or 5 times to kill him. It added variety of gameplay of when you actually versing the enemy like with like a shield or something. It would actually take a while for you to kill that specific enemy because he had a shield. There was actually like, it felt more cinematic than like engaging, if that makes sense. It would make sense if you actually played for yourself, because the game just blew everything out of the water when I first played this game, because it felt so amazing and good. And I was actually so bummed that my friend couldn't play it because they wouldn't let him stream the game on his Twitch off the Xbox. And I was really bummed out because he he actually enjoyed the game, and I actually beat the game as of recording this video, and it's actually impressive. And actually, after you beat the game, you actually have 3 different types of stories you can actually engage to. You can do the original story, or you can do the other story, which is pretty much the same story, but it gives you a story on the other characters and the storyline. And then you can play the third one, which I think you need to get 18 collectibles to unlock the third story playable mode, whatever. I don't know what it really is, but it's basically the same story, but you get a different side of what the character's backstory is, which is actually pretty cool. I just can't believe how good Hellblade, I almost said Helldivers. I can't believe how good Hellblade 2 was on the Xbox Series S, because Xbox Series S, it's a $300 console. Oh my God, it can make games look very good. And I'm not that kind of person to complain about 60 FPS, but if the 30 FPS gameplay is actually good, I will play it. I will admit to a 30 FPS game on Xbox to be good. Redfall 30 FPS was absolutely terrible because it lagged so bad. With Hellblade 2 with 30 FPS, you could actually tell it was meant for this game. It felt really good and refreshing, and the graphics were so good. Hopefully Xbox can keep up with this kind of hype with this game, because it just felt so good, and I was not expecting it. It was, reacting to other people saying how bad they hate the game more than they did with the first one. It just really surprised me, because how can someone hate this kind of game like this? Even though they couldn't reach the 8-hour mark, but at the end of the day, the game looks very good. But how I look at it is someone is always going to look at this game and be like, wow, this game is terrible. The game is too short. The game is at 30 FPS. It's immediately trash because it's not 60. And I don't pay attention to the other people that think negative about the game. I look at the trailers. I look at the gameplay to make sure if I'm going to play it or not. But since it was on Game Pass, it was free for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give this game a shot. And if I don't like it, I'll stop playing it. Then I just got hooked into the story, and I just kept playing the game on stream. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep playing it and finish the game because I enjoy it. And the craziest part is when you're playing as this character in Hellblade 2, seeing these whispering, it got annoying in the beginning, but once you actually play the game and the whispering in your head, and it tries to tell you to take different routes, and it tries to tell you to do this and do that without actually telling you that. It relates to real life. When you get these negative thoughts in real life, it tells you like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And when you actually implement that into the video game, it kind of feels annoying. Once you actually play further inside of the game, it starts to make sense, and it goes along with the story, and everything comes together, and it feels actually amazing. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to give this game a 10 out of 10 because how immersive this game was, and it feels great. And a lot of people are going to be like, wow, you gave this game a 10 out of 10. Like, you're going to give a 30 FPS title on Xbox a 10 out of 10. How you disrespect the union. I'm like, I don't care, man. Like, if I enjoy a game on Xbox, if it's 30 FPS and I enjoy the game, I'm going to be honest, because it felt really good. That's all I'm going to say. But it's crazy because Xbox or Microsoft themselves didn't actually like market the game as well as they should, because you didn't see ads anywhere. And as of the release of this game, I've started seeing ads on Twitch and all over YouTube. I'm like, wow, why didn't they push the ads before? Because this game is actually good. And I'm going to hate the negative reviews because people are going to look at the reviews and try to bring this game down, and it's actually good. Because if I played a game on an Xbox and it was 30 FPS and it felt terrible, I would say that. I'm not just saying this because it's a new game. Hellblade 2 feels really good on 30 FPS. It just feels good. I'm sorry to say it. If you're an Xbox hater, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say how I feel. It feels really good. I'm gonna say that a million times in this video because I don't care, because it actually feels good. Along with the performance, the weather, the dynamic weather between cutscenes, and how graphics are good, how smooth it is, and how fluid it is, and everything. There's not one time I looked at the game while I was playing like, wow, this looks freaking terrible. There's not one moment that I thought about that. My expectations going into this game was very low, because after seeing the launch of Redfall and the other previous titles of Xbox being at 30 FPS, especially with Remnant 2 being at 30 FPS, it felt clunky as hell, and the final boss was literally unplayable. And then playing Redfall, it was terrible at launch, and it was laggy. 30 FPS, the performance was terrible, game crashing nonstop. Hellblade 2, it did not crash a single time. Please tell me how a perfect game cannot get this right at any Xbox exclusive title. It just amazes me how you can play this game on Game Pass on PC and Xbox. Like, just give it a try. Even if you have Xbox and you don't like 30 FPS games, please give this game a shot because it's worth it. I wish this part was more cinematic other than just us staring at something. Oh, it's like 80 audios. It was like she's actually talking like over here, over there. It was like I'm watching a movie. Swim up, girl, swim. But hearing these voices in the background are just weird. It's like listening to my own demons in my head. This game looks freaking amazing. Oh my god. It feels like I'm watching a movie right now. Why does her arm look like that? She is too weak. Get up. Whoa, he just like looked at me. That was weird. Oh my god, that was scary. Xbox Game Studios presents Ninja Theory. Bro, this is probably one of the most realistic games I ever played on Xbox. I'm pretty sure this is 30 FPS, which I can't really tell, to be honest. Push it back.
The voices were starting getting annoying, but you know, it's like a little hairy tick, but it's your girlfriend that won't shut the fuck up.
I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to like, I think this is, I've never played the first one, so.
I never played the first one either. I
So
never
that,
thought it was the first one, or I would have.
oh yeah, Hellblade 2. Why do you think there's a 2 after it? It feels like I'm watching a movie, dude. Should grab popcorn. Probably gonna get hate for this, but I think that was a 10 out of 10 game. Like that was crazy. Voice crack. Oh my god. I think this is probably one of the best titles on Xbox so far, and I was. If Xbox had more games like this, it would give you a reason why to buy an Xbox. But I have not played the first Hellblade, but playing the second one is like the graphics really surprised me. I'm playing this on the Xbox Series S and blowing my mind of the graphics and the storytelling in this game. It was really deep, and I wish there was more combat in this game because that was really good too. I feel like a movie. It felt like a movie in a type of way, but it felt pretty good. I don't know if there's gonna be an end credit scene. I'm gonna wait and see if there's an end credit. The new narrator is unlocked. You have completed the main story. Companions are now unlocked as narrators. Choose multiple narrators in new story or and the pause menu after starting a new game. Gain a new perspective of the story from the others. That is huge. Original, the others. Dude, there's like 3 stories you can do. That's crazy.